Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 58. Like, follow, subscribe, please help us out with the algorithm. Condolences, Stephen McMichael. He's not dead, but he's in the I don't know if condolences is the word, but he
He's
was got
got,
rushed to ICU. I think he's all better now. I thought he was gonna die when I first saw it.
yeah, he's got a urinary tract infection, and
Oh shit, that's tough.
I'm sure that's got to be tough with ALS and everything else like that. So hopefully he gets better. I mean, as best as he can, considering his circumstances. Hopefully he's able to make it out to Canton in August.
Oh yeah.
Um, that would be, that'd be nice. But it's hard to travel like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's be tough. Hopefully he gets it together so he can at
so
least get presented.
yeah, but that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, what do you got for us today, Sean?
I mean, Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair got cut. I mean, we all saw that coming. Kevin Warren, interesting interview with Jared Payton that kind of been making its round, going a little viral. And just again, another week full of scouts, ex players, draft experts going in, giving their opinion on the Caleb and Justin debate. It's the same old, same old. But Kevin Warren did an interview with Jared Payton talking about the city. Looks like we're staying in Chicago. They're looking for some property out on the lakefront, which I think is best for all parties involved. I think the Bears need to be in Chicago. I think we talked about this. I think the Arlington Heights thing was always just to put some pressure on the city of Chicago to make this happen. As iconic as Soldier Field is, and as much as we like it, it's just not up to par with what the city of Chicago should have in a football stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a done deal yet.
But I know, no, but
I'd
I'm guessing,
still,
yeah.
right now, as of right now, I would still say Arlington Heights is the
I don't think
favorite,
they're going
only
to buy Arlington
because
Heights.
they already own the land and everything over there. Kevin Warren does want to build on the lakefront, Lakeview, everything else like that. He said it a while ago too that he loves the city of Chicago and everything else like that. Um, I have a feeling that you and I are gonna differ a little bit here on what else he said. Going into the whole Justin Fields thing. My stance on it is what do you expect the guy to say? I mean, he's not going to say, no, I don't want Justin Fields on my team. He sucks, and completely tank any trade value that they could potentially have. I know a lot of people are looking into it like, oh, Kevin Warren said this about Justin Fields, and that means he's going to stay, or they're leaning towards keeping Justin. And it's like, again, one, he's not going to badmouth his quarterback that's on the roster right now, and two, Kevin Warren has no say in roster decisions. It is Ryan Poles 100%. It is in his contract that he has final say on roster decisions. Kevin Warren can have an opinion, but that doesn't mean that, because Kevin Warren says he likes Justin Fields and wants Justin Fields on the Bears, blah, 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 that doesn't mean anything. Of course, he's not going to say, no, I don't want him. He's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I
I think a lot of people are looking too much into Kevin Warren's comments on that and just taking it to heart. But let's hear what your opinion is.
well, we do differ. I do agree with you in the sense that obviously, what is he going to say? He's not going to be like Justin sucks. I do think the depth and detail he went to was what I found. He was real, like he just seemed like he really liked Justin. Obviously, that really liking somebody doesn't keep you a job on the team, on a football team. You got to play. But it just seemed like he really liked Justin. I'll say that. Just I, I obviously he could be lying, but I like to think that I got a decent judge of character, and it just seemed like he was going above and beyond to say nice things about Justin. But obviously, yes, he's not going to bet one. Where I do differ is, yes, he does. He has zero say in what happens with the roster, but he has 100% say if Ryan Poles keeps his job, and if he doesn't like the decisions that Ryan Poles is making, Ryan Poles doesn't keep his job. So that part where I disagree, where yes, he has no say in the actual, but it's like Ryan Poles also knows that if he pisses him off and does a bunch of stuff that he doesn't think Kevin Warren would agree with, and it backfires, he's out of there. It's one thing to not listen to your boss and it works out in the end. Then it's everybody okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But in theory, Kevin Warren does really like Justin Fields. He gets rid of him. Kevin Warren's fine. You make all the final decisions, but this is why I say what I've been saying, that if Caleb is a bust, And Justin, let's not even say Justin's a superstar. He's just, you know what I mean, top 10, in between 10 and 15, doing good. You know what I mean? Likable guy. I mean, that it does resonate. Like Ryan Poles answers to somebody, and Warren won't interject directly in the decisions, and he'll let Ryan Poles bury himself or hang himself, or if that's what the case is. But yes, I agree. He has zero say in the roster decisions, but he has 100% say over if Ryan Poles is the GM of the Chicago Bears at all
See, I
times.
don't I don't know if I agree with that either because it really seems like this cycle is just kind of repeating itself. Kevin Warren, technically, yes, is the president of football operations. It's a title that the Chicago Bears have never had before. But to me, it seems like he's just a glorified Ted Phillips. He's Ted Phillips, but with a little bit more
Yeah, but
power.
Ted Phillips
And,
had
and
say.
that's and that's what it said. No, Ted Phillips didn't really
Well,
have
he
any
was. Well,
say.
Ted Phillips was the McGaskey puppet.
It's at the end of the day, it's George McCaskey who has final say. He has final say over Kevin Warren. And if Kevin Warren goes, I want to fire Ryan Poles, and McCaskey's like, nah, Ryan Poles isn't getting fired.
Well, what I'm saying is,
It's
so by
not the
that
way
same
that works.
logic, this whole he's got 100% say it's in Ryan Poles' contract. If McCaskey doesn't like the players that Ryan Poles drafts, is he out of like? Isn't it the same thing?
McCaskey's already said he keeps his nose out of it. He never gets involved in
But
terms of
he's going to
player
get in.
personnel decisions.
I don't know. Is he going to? So he's going to get into it with executive decisions for the GM.
Yes, yeah,
I don't know. I
he
guess
that
maybe I don't. That part
I,
I don't know. Like, and again, I
it's just
understand it is
it's
Poles'
the way it's
decision.
been
I'm not.
ran.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but they hired Warren and Poles to kind of break that cycle, right? So
You
I'm
would think
assuming
so.
it's going to be a little different. And I 100% agree with you. It is Poles' decisions. I don't think Warren is going to give him a memo that says, "I love Justin. You got to keep him," and work around it. I think I'm just saying, like, he's going to let you do whatever you want to do, and if you so happen to cut a player or trade a player that he liked, and that guy does good, and the guy you does is bad, I mean, that's not going to bode well
Well,
with
I
your
mean, it's not a
boss.
secret. It's not a secret that Justin's well liked inside that building by
Yeah.
everybody. You know, so really, you shouldn't take any of those comments as a surprise
People
at
say that,
any
but
fan or
you are
anything.
are people coming out, and is the owner of the Steelers coming out and giving a raving review of Kenny Pickett? Did Ryan
It's a little
did
different.
Ted Phillips ever come out and say anything about how we love Mitch Trubisky?
And like I said, it's a little different. The
A
coaches
lit,
and everything did. And yeah, nobody's really said that
yeah,
in terms of, Kevin Warren, a person in Kevin Warren's position. It's happened a couple of times.
yeah, but it's usually with
But
guys they like. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
and
but
I
at the
understand
same
what you're
time,
saying. What is he going to say? He's not going to say Justin sucks. Caleb's the future. I understand that part. But I'm just saying, like, he could have said nothing. He could have blew the question off. Like, he could have just said, "Hey, that's Ryan Poles' decision." Justin, you know what I mean? I just felt like he went above and beyond to make statements I didn't think he had to make. Like, I
well,
I
you
know
also
he's
got
going to
to
be.
talk your player up too. You can't.
I don't know, but
It,
again,
it
to be fair, it's are you really talking your player up because that's what they know you're doing? So it's like
Well, it was kind of like
it's
a sales pitch
yeah, but if it's a
almost.
sales pitch, it's bullshit because it's a sales pitch. So it's like you can't have it both ways where you're saying like, oh, what is he going to say a bad thing? Like, well, then the GMs know that too. He's not going to badmouth them. The other coaches and GMs too know that. And again, he said all the good shit. I thought he went on a little longer, and I think Jared Payton also likes Justin. So I think Jared kind of poked and prodded and made him elaborate and didn't let him get off with an easy answer. But to round it out, we do, like you said at the beginning, we do see it a little differently. But I do agree with you in the sense that yes, that's not keeping Justin on the team. It's just another thing that I think Poles has got to stick in the back of his head because I don't think Kevin Warren after the interview called Ryan and said, "Hey, I was just fucking blowing smoke. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't really feel that way about Justin. It was all just bullshit." Like that's what I'm saying. I didn't get that vibe that it was just
Oh,
like
probably
complete
not.
bullshit. Um, but there was another thing. One of the first thing that's come out that was bad about Justin Fields, a former executive of ours, I think it was Josh Lucas. I don't. John Lucas came out and said that Justin wasn't very pleasant to Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. That he wasn't very receptive of their leadership. Again, I don't know how much I believe that. We've literally never heard anything like that coming out of Justin. I could see it though. It reminded me kind of like the Tannehill Malik Willis thing where Tannehill said, "I'm not here to coach guys," or you know what I mean. I'm competing for a spot. I could see a little bit of that. They signed Andy back that offseason. We had no plans to get a quarterback. What were we pick 18? It was going to be like a tank year. I think yeah, something like that. We traded up from 18 to 11 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 18, 19, or 20 or something.
Yeah, and basically put Andy Dalton on the hot seat to where the first time he fucked up, he was out of the game, and that's what happened. So I could see there be a little bit of animosity, or you know what I mean, animosity there. Justin Fields also, I'm assuming a lot of these rookies, especially their first year in the NFL as rookie after being the guy for their entire life. You know what I mean? Justin Fields was the guy in college. You know what I mean? He was at Ohio State, one of the top 5 programs where he was the quarterback of you know what I mean, a team that competed every year. So to come to a team and be second, third string quarterback, sure, I'm sure it wasn't that smooth, especially with a quarterback, a veteran quarterback who thought he was coming there to start and have no pressure on him. And then I guess Nick Foles. I don't know. Nick Foles to me has got a jerk face. I never really liked Nick Foles for whatever reason. But yeah, Josh Lucas came out. So I didn't want to skip past that because I mean I'm sure the Fields haters they've been added that to their arsenal. One of many things. But I like I said I didn't want to skip past that because
Yeah,
hey, I mean maybe that is a thing. I don't know. I just never heard that. Justin never really gave me that vibe. Um, and that's literally the only person who's really said anything negative, not gameplay wise, about Justin. So it was interesting to see that. Usually everyone's got glowing reviews all the way up, as we just talked about, from ownership all the way down to you know what I mean, water boys and players. So um, just very interesting. I the past few weeks I've been leaning. I think they're going to take Caleb now. I don't know. Like I've been trying to be unbiased about it, and I like the last few weeks I just really thought it was Caleb. Caleb. Like I said, I don't know if it's Warren, some of these other teams coming out and saying they're interested in Justin, or what. I don't know. But and Caleb, the silence from Caleb's camp is weird. I don't know. Like I said, I we'll see. I think free agency is going to tell us what the Bears are going to do.
there's gonna be here, and here's another thing that you and I did. Maybe it's not Caleb Williams, but I just I'm on the there's gonna be a new quarterback in Chicago next year. I just don't see Justin Fields being the starting quarterback. There was some comments from Luke Getzey. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I didn't.
So new offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders, Luke Getzey, was asked about the growth of Justin Fields, and his response was tremendous growth for Justin. Like I said when I was there, he's one of the best human beings I've ever got to work with. It's just the mentality that he brought every day, the consistent approach, the kind of man that he is. So, glowing remarks there from Luke Getzey, his former offensive coordinator. It kind of adds a little bit of fuel to the fire where, people were talking about, oh, possible Justin Fields destinations if he gets traded. The Raiders were kind of low on that list, but now it seems like they could be a player, especially after releasing Jimmy G today because he was suspended for 2 games for PED use, and that voids his contract, his guaranteed money. So Jimmy G kind of fucked up on that. They did release him today, so that kind of adds a little speculation on a possible Justin Fields destination. You brought it up a little bit earlier. We talked about the 2 cuts. So it's the 2 cuts that we all expected just for salary cap purposes. Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair. Cody Whitehair, Pro Bowl guard in his heyday, back when, he was staying healthy and was actually a viable option on that offensive line. And Eddie Jackson, who had a promising start to his Bears career and then got hurt, and he just hasn't been the same since. So now they're sitting at about 68, 69 million in cap space. It frees up 21 mil for caps, a little over $21 million cap space next year. The big elephant in the room, of course, is the Jalen Johnson contract. Jalen Johnson wants to be the highest paid corner in the league, somewhere around there. He said at first he didn't want to reset the market, but now he's kind of talking a little bit of money. So do you think that 21 mil is going to go to Jalen Johnson that they just saved?
I think it'll have to. I don't really think they're in a position not to give it to him. You don't want to get in a position where you tag a guy and then maybe he sits out and then anytime he's banged up, he's not playing. Um, and it just put again, I don't. It's hard to know what to do when, let's say they're going Caleb. Maybe it's not that big of a deal if they don't sign him. Like, but if they're keeping Justin or another veteran quarterback, like I feel like they're going to be all in next season. I mean, even with Caleb, I think if they don't put on a good showing, people are going to get fired. Eberflus for sure. If they're not a playoff team with Caleb, well, whoever the quarterback is, Eberflus is fired if they don't make the playoffs. Um, so, I don't know. I would have to see what the tag is, but I'm not a fan of the franchise tag because I don't want guys out there not giving it their all. And I just think when you're like, all right, I'm going to tag, I can't get hurt, I don't got a long term contract, my ankle's sore, I'm not playing today. You know, my knees not, I'm not feeling my shoulders, I'm not feeling it, I'm not playing today. And I don't want to be. And Jalen Johnson's already an injury prone guy who sits out a lot, so I don't want to give him any added bonuses. And I guess that might be your worry about giving him a long term deal, but this is just what it is. I think they have to give it to him. I think they probably will just because it's not too much cheaper than the franchise tag. We got money to spend. I don't think there's a lot of big names right now that are possibly gonna touch free agency, but I think it's a lot of them are gonna tag. T. Higgins, they say, is gonna be tagged. Brian Burns will probably get tagged. I don't really see letting them walk out the door.
Josh Allen from Jacksonville.
Yeah, Josh Allen's getting tagged. I mean, if Chase Young's not going to get that much, if anybody wanted him, they would have got him. I mean, he'll get, I don't know, 15, 16, something, you know what I mean? But I don't think he's going to get any crazy value. So I think we'll be stuck. And I'm a big fan of signing our guys that we drafted who are good. I just think that's how you build your team. And you can't let guys like Jalen Johnson walk, even when we've got some promising young guys to replace him. Um,
I mean, there's still the Daniil Hunter talk. I know he's a big target on the Bears' radar. There's a couple of young guys out there too. Maybe some rotational pieces that
oh,
sticking
yeah.
on the outside of Montez Sweat might help. Shit, you might even get a reunion with Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil
Realistically,
Mack. That's what I said. We're gonna have to see what happens with free agency, who their cap casualties, what are the who like what's leaking out the Bears are gonna do. I think we'll have all our answers solved then, or like all our questions answered then. If I like I said, if we deal out a big contract to some D end or corner or whoever for $20 million in 4 years, I think that doesn't bode well for Justin at all. That smells of we're gonna have a rookie quarterback. And I guess the same goes with Jalen Johnson. So it's like if they get Jalen Johnson and somebody in free agency, the writing's on the wall. Um,
yeah, because if you're spending a lot of money this offseason and
Knowing that you're going to have to pay,
with
like,
with multi-year deals, 3 4 year deals, you're realistically looking at a rookie quarterback because you
yeah.
have the money to afford that for the next several years, as opposed to paying
Well, I don't know. Well,
Justin 40
some
mil.
interesting money wise, Baker's deal leaked. It was 3 years, $75 million. They said a little bit over that. Probably like 60 million guaranteed. They'll probably be like almost all guaranteed because he definitely gave him a discount. Baker did. And maybe maybe Poles is looking at that. Maybe Justin, you know what I mean? Like, I think 25 mil a year is fair for, let's say Justin stays where he's at and he's a 30. What did he have? 2,800 yards this year. Let's say he plays the 4 games he missed. That would put him at what? 3,700 yards passing, 3,600 yards passing. Oh,
35.
yeah, 35 and plus another 800 rushing. I think that's fair value for 25 million a year. So, um, I think we're kind of we hit the bell curve with the quarterback contracts, and I think we're going to come down. And I think unless you're the peak, you know what I mean, you got to be an MVP guy to get that $55 million a year contract. Like I said, Baker did what he had to do. I mean, he played better than fucking Deshaun Watson, and you know what I mean. Deshaun Watson's going to be getting 50 million a year, and Baker just took a deal for 25. So maybe the QB market will reset a little bit. Like Danny Dimes, what he get 40 a year,
Yeah,
and it's like Baker
four
did way better than him.
4 for
And
160.
Baker's got a way better track record than Daniel Jones as well. Um,
Yes.
and like I said, he just took 25 million a year, so maybe that's upside for the Bears. That hey, maybe we won't have to give Justin $50 million a year. Um, but yeah, again, I'm not gonna get our hopes up. My hopes up, at least. I mean, I know your team. We're gonna have another quarterback. I just don't envision. To me, it's got to be Caleb or Justin. I don't think Ryan Poles has got the balls to take Drake May and pass on Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels or any of those guys. I really don't. Like that's if it don't work, it's career suicide. Like you're never getting a job again.
But
I think keeping
I've
Justin
been
doesn't like ruin you from ever getting hired again. But passing on Caleb, getting rid of Justin, and then drafting a quarterback who doesn't pan out, you're fucked.
I have lived on this hill, and I will die on this hill. If in Ryan Poles' evaluation process, everything involved, tape, character, everything else like that, if he feels that Drake May is the guy, then he's got to take Drake May. It's just, and like I said, that's why I said it doesn't have to be Caleb Williams at one. I think even if I don't think he trades back with Washington, even if he likes Drake May more than Caleb Williams. I don't know. I just got this feeling that when the evaluation process is done and over with, there's a lot. There's been some experts backtracking. Like Daniel Jeremiah recently this week said that Caleb may not be the prospect that we all thought he was to start off with, and this is the same guy that called him generational just last month. And I've been on record saying that I think Drake May is a
Yeah,
better
you've been team Drake May. I'm
prospect
not a fan of Drake
than
May, but I
Caleb
am
Williams.
team Caleb isn't generational. I'm not saying he's not good. To me, he looks like Kyler Murray. He plays and looks like Kyler Murray to me. And I don't
And
think that's a bad thing. Kyler Murray, I think, playing all 17 games and healthy, I think is a top 15 quarterback. Borderline top 10 if he's got the right pieces around him. So I don't think Caleb is terrible. I just don't. I think he's got a little Kyler Murray in him. Same, maybe even like not even just Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. If the pieces aren't there, if things aren't going right, it's probably not going to go right for him. And people are so enamored with Patrick Mahomes, and it's this weird thing where they're like, "Oh, we got to get the guy. Like, we got to get a franchise quarterback." Patrick Mahomes is not a franchise. Like the word franchise, that's not even a good way to define. Like he's a Hall of Famer. He is like the guy, the goat status. Like compared to them, it's like the Eagles got a franchise quarterback, the Bengals got a franchise quarterback, the Bills got a franchise quarterback, fucking the Cowboys got a franchise quarterback. They're not going. You know what I mean? They're playing. You know what I mean? One extra game a season than we are.
Patrick Mahomes is doing to quarterbacks now what Tom Brady
Yeah,
did to quarterbacks and Michael Jordan did to numerous Hall of
he's ruining their
Famers in the
careers.
90s. It's just he's not nobody else can eat.
Yeah, and
It's
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't just to say like, oh, we're gonna get a franchise quarterback and that's gonna solve our problems. No, you still got to get through fucking Mahomes or Tom Brady. You know what I mean? It's like that's not the end all be all. And we've seen in the past the way to beat those guys usually is a team like a good defense that's a pass rush and a game manager on offense. Like you don't go shot for shot with Tom Brady. You don't go shot for shot with Mahomes and win usually. That's why they're
yeah.
the GOAT.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but and Patrick Mahomes is on a level on his own, but it's you saw what happened just this past year in the Super Bowl, man. You had a complete team in San Francisco, and even they couldn't put down Patrick Mahomes. And I know it's not. It's kind of difficult to compare because San Francisco should have won that game. They should have won that game. And Patrick Mahomes just pulls another rabbit out of his ass. And there's arguments to be made both ways where you draft a quarterback and you hope he reaches somewhat of the magnitude of level that Patrick Mahomes is, or you build a super team around a cheap quarterback that's just a system guy and hope that you can just win with all the talent that you have on the field. But when you have the greatest quarterback who has ever lived, it's pretty much what can you do? This was supposed to be a down year for Kansas City.
Oh, I agree, and that's my point.
Like
It's like, what are the
it's
odds two of
nuts.
those guys are born in the same? Like, that's not like Tom Brady. We didn't see a Tom Brady until Tom Brady was fading. Then Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean, entered the scene. Like, the odds that, and Caleb's selling point is they keep saying, "Oh, he's the next Mahomes." First and foremost, I just hate this argument because Mahomes wasn't a generational talent who was the number one pick in the draft. It's like these same people who are calling Caleb generational said Trubisky was better than Patrick Mahomes. Like you
And
can't.
well, here's why. Because I read up a little bit on this too, and it's scouting has changed, right? So when Mahomes came out, we were still, yeah, it was still a quarterback driven league, but it was still more along the lines of we need polished, we're not so much taking people on upside as opposed to polished prospects. Now, like with Anthony Richardson last year, Anthony Richardson should not have been as high up on the board as what he was. It was just that high upside. Can you take his athleticism from college and
I
can
think
it
that was the
translate to the
Justin effect,
NFL?
where they're like, "We'll let him rush for 1,000 yards a season until he can." And Josh Allen and guys like that
Well,
were
see
like,
that's
in
what
the
I'm saying. I'm
meantime,
saying I'm saying scouting in
yeah,
general has changed
yeah.
now. So now what we see as flaws from Patrick Mahomes 7 years ago, we see as potential positives in a prospect like Caleb Williams
But
because
only because of Mahomes, and it's like nobody can replicate that though. You just
I
can't.
know, but I'm just saying that's the thought process behind why these people now are saying, oh, well, he has the same issues that Patrick Mahomes had, coming out of college, and Patrick Mahomes was the third or fourth quarterback taking that draft. So why is it now all of a sudden he's generational when we were saying Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to make it, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
that was a huge
It's just one
project.
of those things where, the scouting
Well, it's a
reports change on
copycat
these
game.
people.
I think scouting is pretty simple. I just think it's a copycat league, and Caleb's light skin. He's got the little fucking parted up fro, and he kind of looks like Mahomes, and he kind of matches his game to him. But like weeks you talked about it, like I said, people have been backpedaling Caleb. I've been watching a little bit more. It's just the more I look up on him, he like everything we don't like about Justin, he does too. And when you watch when Bears fans were watching Justin Fields' highlight tape after we drafted him, we were fucking wetting ourselves. So it's like we forget that Justin Fields got a crazy highlight tape too, that we were in love with. That he didn't win the Heisman, but he was a borderline Heisman. I think 2 out of his 3 years he was a finalist. Um, and yeah, like I said, I just don't. Well, I don't think Caleb's special. I don't break Drake May, and the more I do research on him, he does look better. I was just reading out of all the quarterbacks, he's the one that runs for first downs the most. But like, I think they took all the prospects combined, rushed for less first downs on third and fourth down than him. Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams, and Michael Penix all combined had less first downs on rushes on third and fourth, like or rushes on third and fourth down for a first down than Drake May. He had like 52, and all of them had like 10. So
Yeah,
that's interesting. So he can run.
yeah,
His
he's
game is
he's an
polished.
athletic guy.
Yeah,
He is an athletic guy. He doesn't run a lot.
maybe he's like the next Justin Herbert. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's what people are saying to him now, that he's
Well,
got wheels. I don't think
I
he's got
look
the
at
arm
him.
Herbert's got,
Yeah,
but
I look at his mentality, and I think Josh Allen mentality, where I'm gonna pick up this first down if it's gonna fucking kill me. You know what I'm
uh,
saying? But I'm enamored with his size.
yeah,
Justin
he's a big
Fields
guy.
is a big guy.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is 6'3", 230.
That's what
Drake
Kevin
May,
Warren said that too. He said like
Dra-
Justin Fields is a big dude. Like
yeah, Drake May is 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds and runs like Josh Allen. Like, it's hard not to be enamored with that size. Now, he doesn't have Caleb's arm strength. He doesn't have Justin's legs, but he's got like a kind of like a combination of both to where he has an NFL sized arm. He can make all the throws. He may not be able to throw it as far as Justin Fields, but he's a little bit more accurate in terms of mid-level throws and outside the numbers. He's very accurate on those throws. And in a West Coast offense like we run, those are a lot of the throws that we make. Yes, I get the comparisons. I see it all the time where people are like, oh my God, we're going to take another number 10 from UNC, blah, 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 blah. There is a big difference between Mitch Trubisky and Drake
I
May,
don't know if there's a
guys.
big difference, but
There's a big difference
what
between
their
Drake May and
prospect
Mitch
what like
Trubisky.
their what their pro like Mitch was a big guy who was mobile, could make all the throws. He just didn't have the experience that Drake May
That,
has.
yeah,
But
that's
his
a big
report was
factor.
similar. Big arm, can run, ran like a 4.5. He's a big kid, 6'3", handsome
I
guy.
Like I said, I get it, but these are two completely different prospects. Similar playing styles, but two completely
I
different
do
prospects.
think Drake May is much more polished than Mitch. SEC was tougher. He played our win. I think the SEC is even tougher now. I think it's the talent's more spread out. His game is just more polished. Mitch was a super raw prospect. How he went, he got drafted by us that early uh,
Well, did
before
you? All
Deshaun
right. So,
Watson and before Patrick Mahomes is beyond me. But
yeah. So this is. I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because you're talking about how how did we end up trading up for Mitchell Trubisky? So a lot of people know that John Fox, who was the head coach at the time when we drafted Mitch, um, he and Ryan Pace, they never talked about, player personnel decisions. I'm assuming Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are kind of on the same page with each other, where
oh yeah,
Eberflus does have some say in what's going on with
probably
the
gives him a
roster
list.
decisions and stuff like that. So John Fox is on record recently saying that he was under the impression going into draft night um, when the draft started, that they were going to take Jamal Adams, the safety. He had no idea that Ryan Pace was going to pick Mitch Trubisky until after they picked Mitch Trubisky. He did not want Mitch Trubisky. He did.
Jamal Adams. That's who
Yes.
we're gonna pick. That makes me even
Yes.
madder.
Yes.
I would have rather had Mitch Trubisky than Jamal Adams.
John
Just to
Fox.
throw, just to how do we not? Why do we not like? This is where people think that the Cassies are racist. How do we not take Deshaun Watson there? Like hindsight's fine, I guess. Oh man, but like the escort game isn't as big here, so maybe he never would have got crazy. But like, how we not take Deshaun Watson? How was it Jamal Adams or Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson, who I'm pretty sure just had beat Bama, um, was not the pick? That is just
You got to remember,
ridiculous to
John
me.
Fox is a defensive guy that was probably his guy from the start. He probably had this highest grade on him. Like, okay, we're going to take Jamal Adams. That's who John Fox was under the assumption that they were going to
But
get.
we needed a quarterback. I can't even remember who our quarterback was then. Mike Glennon when we took
Glennon was
Mitch.
signed when we drafted Trubisky.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that
Yeah.
is craziness.
Yeah.
I never heard this or that we were going to take. And again,
Yes.
Jamal Adams isn't that bad. He's a quality player, but like we didn't need a strong safety. That
I
is
mean, we
ridiculous.
did,
Kind
but
of not like that. I just the
it,
Bears always find
it
some diamond in
wasn't,
the rough.
but yeah, I just found that really interesting. I thought that was kind of funny. That you know we were gonna pick Jamal Adams and still leave all those people on the board. Um, but yeah, there. I mean, we're what? It's the 16th as of this
The
recording right
combine soon,
now.
right? Combines.
Well, here's the free agency starts March 13th,
Yeah.
and so that's only 25 days away. 25 days away from the start of NFL free agency. And then the draft is April 25th through the 27th. I made sure I looked that up, so I had it.
The
Um,
combine's the 26th. It starts.
March 26th, so that'll start after free agency. Free agency starts March 13th.
No,
And
February 26th.
oh, Feb.
Yeah, I knew the combine's always in February. That's why I just said it
Oh,
was
okay.
soon, and that's
So
why.
yeah, I mean, 10 days until the combine, in
So that'll be
Indianapolis.
interesting. Imagine how many stories are going to leak about Poles and Caleb's meeting. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
oh god,
And then
I think
so for
Caleb's
the
going to
draft,
measure bad though. I think he's going to have small hands, and I think he's going to be shorter. What is he at 6'1"? I think he's going to be 6 foot.
no,
Um,
I don't.
he
There,
looks.
there's a in the Heisman ceremony with him and CJ Stroud. CJ, I mean, I know pictures can be deceiving, but I don't think you can,
Caleb's
edit
got
it
big
that
hair
much
too, so it makes him look taller.
you know what I'm saying? But CJ Stroud's listed at 6'3", and in the picture of the four of them standing next to each other, I mean, Caleb Williams does not look that much smaller than CJ Stroud in that picture. The draft is being held in Detroit. So it's like it's making its Midwestern tour right now.
Yeah, what was it? KC,
Um,
Chicago, then KC.
yeah, so with it being in Detroit, it's going to be. I think the Bears fans will show up in uniform. It's going to be close. I mean, Detroit from Chicago is only a couple of hours. It's really not that far. Um, but I'd be excited for it. Like you said, the combine starting on the 26th, so only in 10 days. I'd be very interested to see some of these prospects, just in terms of their measurables and some of their athleticism. We have to remember, too, Ryan Poles has a type. He loves that RAS score. So keep an eye out on just freaks of nature in terms of athleticism and look for that, but in like premium positions. So
like wide
corners,
receiver.
defensive linemen, stuff like that. Like if you see a guy that's got a freak Raz athletic score and he's got like a fourth round grade on him or something like that, expect him to be on Ryan Poles' radar because that's usually his type. That's what he likes. Free agency starting March 13th. Again, we haven't seen Ryan Poles give out huge contracts. We just saw the one to Tremaine Edmonds, of course, him being 26 years old at the time of signing that. It's a pretty decent contract. I mean, you take a look at the 26 year. I don't think there's like a stud superstar free agent that's coming out this year because, like you said, a
Not if
lot
they
of
don't get tagged.
them.
I mean, Brian Burns right now, against Josh Allen, but I'm pretty sure they're going to get tagged. The Jags aren't going to let Josh Allen go. I don't see why they would. They have no, um, yeah, maybe a wide receiver, maybe Ridley or Mike Evans, but I don't think either of them are going to get anything longer than a 2-year deal. Um, Mike Evans says he wants to get paid, so I don't see him. I don't think he's going to overpay for Mike Evans.
No.
So
Do
maybe
you think
Ridley.
that do you think it's the year of the running back in free agency this year? I mean, you're
Oh yeah,
looking
I
at
forgot it's Derrick Henry,
Saquon and Josh
Saquon.
Jacobs.
Yeah, Derrick Henry too.
Yeah, but I don't see Derrick Henry
Well, Derrick
coming
Henry's just
here.
going to end up. No, not on our. I think he's going to be on like the Cowboys or something. I bet. If I had to bet right now, or the Eagles, one of those two, he's going to end up on like a contender. Um,
So who would you want? Do you want Josh Jacobs or do you want
no, I
Saquon
want
Barkley
Saquon.
more?
Well, if we get Justin Saquon, if we get Caleb, Josh Jacobs, I
Now,
think I
why
think
that?
Justin and Saquon are. I think Justin is just like they would have a little read option, explosive offense, more explosive offense. I think Justin opens up the lanes for a guy like Saquon to get loose. Um, I just think Josh Jacobs is a lot more reliable and things of that nature. And if you're gonna pair a rookie, I think Josh Jacobs would somebody be able to pair a rookie with better, in my opinion. I think Saquon's a lot better than Josh Jacobs. Just more explosive. I don't know if a lot better is a word. They do different things. Running back is a nuanced position. You can be very good and not be explosive and flashy. But I think Justin and Saquon would be really good together. A lot of speed. You could do a lot of. That'd just be a lot of pressure on the defense to have both of those guys standing back there.
All right, well, let me ask you a question because there's a lot of rumors going around that there's a possible reunion in New York with Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. I guess the Jets are looking into possibly exploring a
Well, didn't the
trade.
Raiders say they're not trading him though?
Yeah, they say that, but who
Yeah, that's
knows?
true. I
Anything's
mean, it's a new.
possible. Um, in terms of, let's just say Davante Adams does become available. He's already got a contract. You're probably going to still pay a decent amount. Um, are you willing to give up a fourth round, maybe a third round? It'd probably be a third rounder because you're not. I don't think you're getting a first round pick for Davante Adams anymore.
No, definitely not. No.
But with Davante Adams and then the talk of Justin Jefferson wanting to be the highest paid wide receiver in history at 30 mil a year, I don't think Minnesota's going to pay him that and a quarterback as well. They're probably going to end up trading Justin Jefferson. If
No
they
way.
do,
They're going to
uh,
draft a quarter. I mean, they're just going to draft a quarterback. I think they're gonna push up and get like JJ McCarthy or Bo
but
Nix
see, here's
or
the thing:
Michael
he doesn't
Penix.
want to sign an extension if there was some things he wanted or whatever. He wanted to know like their plan at quarterback and
Yeah, but I mean, we were
this, that,
talking
and the
about
other
this with
before
Caleb. Like, you could
they
say whatever the
sign.
fuck you want. You're a wide receiver. They're not cluing him in on the future. He's a big mouth who could get traded. He could say whatever. Like, he's just gonna talk. Like, he's running his mouth now. They're not gonna tell him their plans for the future. He's gonna leak it.
So then, what? Why would you want that on your team then?
I mean, they'll be in the. I just think he's in no position to bargain. Like, Tyreek Hill was a little different because the the Chiefs don't need no distraction. They're a championship team. Like, so they were if Tyreek wanted to go, and then he could go. Like, simple as that. Um, the Vikings have nothing. They're about to lose to Neil Hunter. They don't have a quarterback. Um, they could you even the bad press is good press for them. So it's like even the drama will be good for him. And he's just said, what I don't know. I guess it would see what the market is, what they get a first for Tyreek, and he needed to be
Yeah.
resigned. So what are you going to get a first and a
Well,
second
they
for
got a
Justin
total of
Jefferson?
six. They got a total of six picks for
Six?
Ty. Yes,
I didn't
for
know that.
Tyreek.
Holy shit! I thought it was like three or something.
No, they got a total of six picks for Tyreek. One of them being a first rounder, but of course. Justin Jefferson's going to be younger than
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill was. He's, you know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah, so
coming
it'd be
into his
around
second
that.
contract.
Again, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to pay that price for a wide receiver?
You'd be surprised.
I mean,
There's going to
I
be
think it's a
somebody.
copycat league, and it didn't work for the Dolphins or the Raiders, and everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck are we gonna do it?" I mean, it made the Dolphins fun to watch, but they got knocked out one. They played one extra game this season.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, there's just a lot of moving pieces and stuff that you were talking about. We kind of have to wait and see
Yeah,
with, free agency, who's going where, who's doing what. It's like I said, man, we got another 7 months before the regular season. So, I mean, we're pretty much just waiting and waiting and waiting. You said 10 days until the combine, 25 days until free agency, and then
yeah.
two
Well, the
months
combine, we'll get a lot of info. We'll get all the players and their things, and that's when everybody meets up and really starts
talking.
gossiping and
Oh,
sending the
yeah.
smoke screens and everything. So the chatter will really be pick up then. I think all the meetings will happen. And I think we'll have an idea like if what you're saying is true, if the Bears really like Drake May. Because Drake May and Caleb and all them will leak it out. You know what I mean? Caleb, you know what I mean? Drake May's gonna say, "Hey, yeah, I had a great interview with the Bears." Like, you know what I mean? Me and Brian Poles really got along. Shit like that. So we'll see. Shit. So I'm very interested in that. And then I think um, just or Ryan Poles won't be able to hide his intentions much longer after free agency because we'll just know. Like if he gives, I mean, he's gonna have to pay Jalen Johnson, and then if he gives another person the bag, I think it will be. I just think they should get with the program, and if you don't want Justin, then be done with Justin, trade him ASAP. Um, because the close, I think like once you get to the draft, in my opinion, teams are going to be like after the combine, teams are going to be less likely to give you their pick because they're just like pick horny. They're like, all right, you know what? We'll wait till after the draft. If the Bears are
Well,
going to
you
draft
can't
Caleb, if the Bears are going to draft Caleb, then we'll let them draft him, and then we'll trade him our first next year. Like
well,
that's
you
what's going to
can't
happen.
you can't they can't trade him until the
Well, I know
end of
that.
the
I'm just
league
saying,
year.
like, make it known. Like, everybody, send your fucking offers. Justin's available. We're drafting a quarterback in this draft, and be done with it. Because I think, like I said, as the draft approaches, teams are gonna be like, why the fuck would I give? Like, if you guys are done with Justin, why the fuck would I give you a pick now when I know you're done? You're gonna take Caleb. I could just give you my second next year.
Well, because there's a lot of quarterback needy teams that are still going to get desperate.
But
That
th-
it
but
happens
but
every
I
year.
this is a good year because there's five quarterbacks for the first round grade. Kirk Cousins will be in free agency. If you're really desperate, Jimmy Garoppolo will be in free agency. Like I get, and like I said, Justin Fields is one of them. But I mean, and Joe Burrow's coming back.
Well,
How
there's a
many
lot
teams
of
need a
talk.
team? Like five, right? That's five rookies. Like there's
There's a
not
lot. Well, there's a lot of talk
Russell
too
Wilson.
about Pittsburgh. There's a
Yeah,
lot of smoke around Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Um, the, I saw something about like somebody on Twitter was like, "Oh, this trade's gonna happen because New England wants to trade out of the first round." Blah 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 blah. So there was somebody who posted something that's like trade New England number 9
9.
Justin Fields and like a fourth for the
Yeah,
number 3 overall
yeah.
pick and draft Caleb and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm like, that sounds great in theory, but I think it's going to cost you a little bit
Um,
more than pick 9 and Justin Fields to get number 3 for Marvin Harrison Jr. You're probably going to have to throw in a first or a second next year. I
yeah.
mean, maybe if it's Carolina's second next
I
year,
don't
but
see Poles trading up.
I don't see it either.
Definitely not up. No, I don't. I don't. He doesn't give me those vibes.
But that's just a
Um,
scenario that's been
yeah, I saw
floated.
that. I've seen Pittsburgh for what do they got? 20. I've
Yeah.
seen Justin for Pitts in the third or something, like the number 8 pick for Justin in the fourth. Um, I don't see those very likely because I'm just thinking in my head if eventually it's going to be known what the Bears are only going to be able to keep it in house and secret for so long. Um, and then once it leaks out, if I'm the Falcons or anybody, it's like, why the fuck would I give you any of my picks this year? Maybe a third. You're going to be stuck with them after the year, and then fine, I'll give you my second next year. You know what I mean? That's a year away. Who cares? Um, so I think they're kind of hurting if they want to do want to move Justin. I think they're hurting their value, letting all these teams interview quarterbacks, see private workouts, meet with all these guys. because then they're gonna fall in love and they're gonna be like, all right, well, I kind of want Justin, but or I like Michael Penix. So we'll see how the draft plays out, and if we can't end up trading for Michael Penix, we'll do it after the draft. We'll go get Justin because he's still in the Bears, and I think that's what everyone's going to do. There's so many young quarterbacks to go get. They're going to go in the draft and say, "Hey, I might be able to trade up a couple spots and get JJ McCarthy instead of." And I'll try and do that in the draft, and if it doesn't pan out, then I'll give the Bears whatever they want for Justin. And then I think that'll hurt us because I think we need to be all in. We just did 3 years of rebuilding or two. Um, Caleb, Drake May, Justin, whoever the hell it is. I don't think this is gonna be a throwaway year. I think they're gonna at least try and win. I think at the end of the day it is because no rookie's taking you to the playoffs. I don't care what CJ Stroud just did. It's I don't think it'll happen 2 years in a row.
Agree to disagree.
But all right. Like I said, get well soon, Steve McMichael. Uh, Farewell to Cody Whitehair and Eddie Jackson. We harped on them a lot, but they had long tenures in the Bears, and they had their moments, and um, they seem to care about the city. Like I said, get hurt, get old, it just happens. I had no hard feelings, and honestly, I was hoping Eddie Jackson would take a pay cut. Maybe he still will. You want me to come back on a super discount? I think he's still got a little life left in him, especially as the team. The better the team is, the better Eddie Jackson is. He's just a instinctual safety who we can't rely on to make tackles, but he's good in coverage. And if everybody else can tackle and everybody else guarding the guy, we don't have to rely on him for that. He even in his best years, he wasn't a good tackler. So people complaining about it now, he was just out there getting pick sixes. And Cody Whitehair, like you said, he was all pro or Pro Bowler at one point. He had his moment. He was young. He played good well. He just I don't know if he's done or our offensive line coach, but for whatever reason, he's not it anymore. But follow, subscribe, keep commenting on the reels. You guys really like our Caleb versus Justin reels, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Adios, buddy.